Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Adubato. We are honored to be joined by State Senator Paul Sarlo. He's a Democrat. He is the Deputy Majority Leader and the chair of the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee. Senator, good to see you.
Good to see you, Steve. It's great to be back with you.
Well, we're taping this on the 16th of November. Happy Thanksgiving before, but you'll see this after. All right, Senator, here's the deal. November 2nd, big election, historic election, both in New Jersey and Virginia. The biggest message that you, as a independent, conservative, if you will, fiscal conservative Democrat, what did you take from this election?
Steve, I'm going to start by answering that question with a 30-second story. Born and raised in Woodridge. My bedroom was my older brother and my younger brother. I was on the top bunk bed. We all played three sports in high school. My dad came back from the Korean War, was a non-union fitter. 5:30 in the morning, his bedroom was right next to ours. He would get up, you hear him rumbling out, walk into the bathroom. He would put the heat up first because he would keep the heat low at night. We'd all freeze because he didn't want to spend the heat at night. He'd go in, do what he had to do in the bathroom. He'd take his lunchbox out, make a pot of coffee, wake up the house, let out noise, and he would go out and work a hard day out, whether it was in the heat or in the cold. He would bowl at night to make a little extra money in the winter. He would umpire in the summer to make a little extra money for the family. My dad is no longer with us, but that group of men, those folks deserted us in this election. Those hardworking folks deserted us in this election.
Why, Senator?
They just felt we forgot, the Democratic Party forgot the working man. And woman, Democratic Party forgot hardworking men and women, the suburban moms and the hardworking dads and moms who live in our communities around the state. The suburban folks kind of deserted us here. And I was preaching to the choir. I was speaking about
what were you saying? What were you saying to the Democratic caucus in the Senate?
I was saying it to my members of the caucus in my Senate. I was saying it to the Governor Murphy's staff, is don't turn your back on the suburban voter. Don't turn your back on my dad, who's no longer with us, who grew up as a Democrat. They were, the Reagan Democrats. That's what my district is, Reagan Democrats. People who care about good education. They care about helping the less fortunate. They know some people are dealt a bad deck of cards and they want to help that person. They want government to step in and help that person. They want good education. They want good health care. They want to make sure that the police are there for them and they support their law enforcement. They're not a lot about all of the national policy and the progressive policies that are out there where they feel that it's a giveaway and there's no skin in the game. And I know I'm really sounding like a very, very middle of the road conservative Democrat, but I'm being practical. We need to get back to being practical.
Let me push back in this way. The governor Murphy said, first of all, he said the message he got in the election was to keep doing what he's doing. So that's number one. 2 days after, because it took a couple of days to determine who won the election, governor won. First Democratic governor won in 40 plus years, re-election.
And I'm glad he won. I'm a big supporter of the governor. I'm glad he won.
Okay, but increasing the minimum wage, increased childcare, universal pre-K, a promotion of community college being free, paid family, a whole bunch of things. The governor says that's for the middle class. You're now saying that the governor's agenda or the Democratic agenda moves so far to the left, so progressive, that it abandoned people like your dad, who represent so many suburban, if you will, Democrats, Reagan Democrats. The governor will say he never abandoned them.
Well,
who's right?
Well, listen, some of the issues, I supported many of those issues. I supported increase to the minimum wage and paid family leave to a point. But some of our policies have gone even beyond that. Some of our policies sometimes are even more to the left of what our federal government is doing as well. Listen, we need to be just practical. We need to be very practical and moderate of how we approach things. Government needs us, but we also need to make sure the levers of government work, making sure our DMV, our unemployment, all of the levers of government are working for our people. People don't mind government expanding. They don't mind government being there to help them, but they want it to work for them. When you put that in combination with them feeling like they were forgotten, we end up with good friends of ours losing elections here.
Including Senate President Steve Sweeney.
including Senate President Steve Sweeney.
What was the message there? Because he's not a progressive liberal Democrat. He was a middle of the road, more conservative Democrat who lost his race to someone who spent a couple grand, never really ran for the legislature before. Most powerful member of the Senate, gone.
Well, listen, I'm not real familiar with all of Steve's district. I do know Steve's district is a lot more conservative and rural than other parts of the state. It's a much different than my district as well. Clearly, the Trump vote plus the suburban vote in combination turned out to the detriment of our good friend Steve Sweeney. So I'm not saying we need to abandon who we are as Democrats. We don't. We need to continue to help those who are less fortunate. We need to help our cities and our urban areas, but we can't just turn our back on the suburban Democratic voter. Be practical. Be as practical as possible. Everything that we vote on, make sure it's working for the people.
When the governor said, and I asked him about this in a one-on-one interview, you can look on our website, steveadubato.org. Check out the interview I did with him and Republican Jack Ciattarelli, half-hour policy-oriented interview. I asked about the governor about this, and he didn't back down. He didn't change it. I said, Governor, when you said if taxes are your issue, New Jersey's probably not your state. He goes, yeah, I said it, but I meant that we have great services. We have great schools. When he said that, when you heard it, your district, what did you think would happen?
Listen, when I heard, listen, I have great respect for our governor. I'm a big supporter of the governor. I want to make that clear to our viewers out there. And I'm glad he's back for another 4 years and look forward to working with him. But you know, when he said that, I think he just went out a little bit too far. And I think he even recognizes that resulted in a lot of video clips and a lot of commercials that were just, you know, slammed into people's living rooms and on social media throughout parts of Bergen County, parts of southern New Jersey, and our suburbs. You know, look at some of the towns, Secaucus, just outside of my district, another hardworking district Democrat, solid Democrat. Democrats winning there by just 100 votes or 200 votes. Mind-boggling in a town like Secaucus, where Democrats would only win by 100 votes.
So what happens moving forward in the second Murphy term with the legislature, with a new president of the Senate, Nick Scutari? Is there a different dynamic, Senator, between the governor and the legislature, all controlled by Democrats, in terms of policy? Significantly different?
No, listen, I know we've had some conversations. Of course, there's always the postmortem, and there's going to be internal conversations among ourselves. I've had great conversations with Nick Scutari. Nick and I came in together. Sometimes people think we're brothers. We look alike. He's been the judiciary chairman.
Happens with Italians sometimes.
Yeah. He's been chairman of the judiciary. I've been chairman of the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee. I think we both have 12 years. I'm going to be right by his side. And he knows, and then we've talked about this, and he's asked me, you know, at times try to be the voice of reason, try to be the practical guy in the room. And I think we're going to have those conversations. Listen, we need to be a big party, right? Democrats need to be.
Are you one party, Senator? Are you one party, or is there the Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez party, along with others on the far left, and then you and some others on the more moderate end? Is it two parties?
So, Steve, and you know what? I'm actually falling into that trap right now because I'm calling myself a moderate and I'm calling myself a practical moderate. I am a Democrat, and we need to be a party of a big tent. We need to include our union brothers and sisters. We need to include those who are progressives. We need to include those who are moderate and more fiscally conservative. We're one party. We are Democrats. We need.
But you don't all believe in the same thing, Senator.
I'm sorry, Steve.
You do not all believe in the same things.
We don't have to all believe in the same thing. But as my dad always used to say, when he would come home from work, remember, I worked really hard today, but there was those who are less fortunate. When you go to church, pray for them. And when you go to church, make sure you help those who are less fortunate. Government needs to be there to help those who were dealt a bad hand, those, the developmentally disabled community, those, the poor, the immigrants who are coming in here. We welcome our immigrants. Give them a chance. Give them a chance to start a new business. That's who we are as Democrats. But when we just keep talking about no skin in the game and free everything, and we talk about, you know, defunding our police, And
that was a bad message, wasn't it?
Very bad. We talk about, we talk about police officers who are unable to stop a teenager on the corner who is smoking marijuana that he has to drive by. That hurts us as Democrats. We need to get beyond that. That hurts us as Democrats. And I'm going to continue to be as vocal as possible. I know we have suburban Democrats throughout the state, in every county, Hudson County, Middlesex, Essex, up and down the northern parts of the states, as well as South Jersey. We know which is a lot more conservative and rural. We are one party. We need to start thinking like one party. We can't let what happens at the federal level inject themselves into our politics here. They are really divided up at the federal level.
In Congress,
I don't think the most liberal Democrat in my caucus and the more conservative Democrats in my caucus, like myself and Senator Sweeney and others, there's not a lot of difference between us. We can get in a room and figure this out. And we're going to work with our governor. We'll push back where necessary, and we're going to support things where we feel we can. We have an opportunity here. The voters sent us a message.
Senator Paul Sarlo, we will monitor that and look forward to having you back in the new year. We're taping at the end of 2021. Paul, all the best to you and your family.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Adubato. That's Senator Sarlo. We'll be right back.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare. PNC, Grow Up Great. Fedway Associates, Inc. MD Advantage Insurance Company. PSE&G, Operating Engineers, Local 825. IBEW Local 102, Lighting the Path, Leading the Way. Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters. And by the Fidelco Group. Promotional support provided by Insider NJ. And by Jaffe Communications.
Choosing a new family doctor can be confusing. Check with your health insurer to see which physicians near you participate with your plan. Find out which hospitals the doctor uses and who covers when the doctor is away. And remember to schedule an appointment with your new doctor in advance to fill out any paperwork without the added stress of being sick.